Many of us didn't see it yet in early 2020. But today, millions of us are now aware of the emerging one world government and their deceitful plans to seize power hidden under the guise of world health. And many of us are now awake to the fact that this so-called New World Order is religiously paganistic, luciferic, and satanic. So it's no surprise that their coronation ball climaxes on May 28th with a devil-horned moon and the Jupiter-Mars conjunction, which is believed to bring success when starting a war. Their big week of megalomania begins on May 22nd in Switzerland, with both the World Health Organization's annual World Health Assembly and the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos. In Geneva, the WHO will be voting on a pandemic treaty known officially as the Zero Draft Report of the Working Group on Strengthening WHO Preparedness and Response to Health Emergencies. This pandemic treaty will make them the directing and coordinating authority on international health. The WHO's Zero Draft Plan includes regular simulation exercises, global surveillance, more vaccines, more censorship, contact tracing, and digital vaccine passports. In Davos, Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum's annual meeting theme is History at a Turning Point. Their agenda includes more vaccines, more censorship, and more LGBTQI resilience. The same week in Indonesia, the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction is holding their annual global platform, where they will be planning for regular ongoing pandemic simulations, more global governance, more money to fight climate change, and ultimately accomplishing the United Nations 2030 Agenda, also known as the Great Reset. After the New World Order's narcissistic coronation week ends with the devil-horned moon and the Jupiter-Mars conjunction, Klaus Schwab and his fellow Satanists can celebrate with their friends at CERN. And then what? In March of 2021, the Nuclear Threat Initiative conducted a tabletop exercise simulating a global pandemic involving a monkeypox terrorist attack. Something that Bill Gates has told us to expect. The Biden administration has just bought millions of doses of monkeypox vaccines, and mysterious cases are now being reported. The final assault of the New World Order will involve a man-made bioattack, food shortages, FEMA camps, rolling blackouts, and endless riots. Violence may save your life someday, and it might save our freedom, but it's not a solution. If we really wanted to solve this problem, we could all peacefully convene at our local government council and demand either their allegiance to the Constitution or their immediate resignation. Because the New World Order is not going to surrender, and the entire U.S. government is under their control. This coming Memorial Day, remember and honor the ancestors who died for our freedom, because it may very well be our last.
Here we need a vast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector. It offers the only real prospect of achieving fundamental economic transition.
The main weapon being deployed against us by the would-be New World Order is sleight of hand, distraction, and fakery. And we can see its effectiveness in the recent Johnny Depp trial. Meaningless drivel to feed humanity while we are literally being killed by criminal gangs posing as governments. And almost everybody takes a bite. As a human being, one must always factor in the tendency to be fooled and focus on what we know. And so, what do we know so far about monkeypox? We know that after Bill Gates warned of an impending terrorist attack involving a synthetic smallpox in 2017, 2 new monkeypox vaccines were developed, both admittedly dangerous, known to cause infection, vaccine shedding, and death. And both have been approved by the FDA. And we know that they have been planning for a monkeypox outbreak, just as the Event 201 simulation war-gamed COVID-19 the year prior, or as Bill Gates calls it, germ-gamed. In the spring of last year, the U.S. held a monkeypox pandemic simulation exercise with the nonprofit Nuclear Threat Initiative that predicted a monkeypox bioattack in June of this year. During that same time, the UK Ministry of Defense simulated a monkeypox outbreak, focusing on Russian disinfo. And what do we know about monkeypox? Monkeypox was first discovered in 1958 within colonies of laboratory research monkeys who were being given the polio vaccine. And according to the CDC, the only symptom that distinguishes monkeypox from smallpox is lymphadenopathy, swollen lymph nodes, which is also a smallpox vaccine side effect and is known to be a symptom of smallpox, as well as chickenpox. Electron microscope visualization cannot prove a smallpox infection because all pox viruses are morphologically indistinguishable. According to actual science, there is a strong argument that smallpox, monkeypox, chickenpox, and shingles are all the same thing, and there is no actual proof that they are different. We are simply expected to trust the CDC and their logical fallacies as so-called evidence. And so, in 1958, when virologists were likely seeing side effects on lab monkeys they were injecting with experimental vaccines, they called it monkeypox and claimed it was an ancient rare virus that they had just discovered, which, coincidentally, showed up in humans for the first time in 1970. And by 1978, without any proof of its existence, scientific journals were already saying that vaccination is an effective preventative measure against monkeypox. Just 3 months ago, the famous Wuhan lab who allegedly created COVID-19 published a paper claiming they assembled a monkeypox virus genome, which will enable for successful PCR testing and potentially make it more contagious. And so, just as the PCR tests were used to create false positives by misreading the flu, the common cold, and even fruit as COVID-19, they will now be used to create false positives for monkeypox. Whether you are experiencing vaccine side effects or common herpes, or even asymptomatic monkeypox. And finally, we know that the media is the real virus. And when the media puts out the fear, their followers will eagerly line up to get the new dangerous vaccines and insist that you do the same.